This is a dynamic block tutorial. I'm going to show you how to make a section mark block. It's a block a lot of offices will use, and also it's a very good block to show you how to use actions in combination with one another. I've already drawn all the geometry. I have two blocks that are going to be nested blocks, and I have two attributes. If you have any questions about attributes, the comment section is the best place for that. This tutorial is more to show you how to use actions. So I'm going to select all my geometry, type B for block. I'm going to give this block a temporary name. I usually give it a permanent name once I've built the block and I know it's functioning correctly. It's going to be annotative. When you make annotative blocks, make sure your annotative scale is set to 1:1. Now I'm going to type bedit to go into the block editor. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to place actions. First we need to place a parameter, a linear parameter in this case. Next we go to actions, stretch, select the parameter, select the node that we want the action to affect, select the window, and now the objects. For this parameter, we only want the grip showing on the end. I can edit that in my properties window. I'm going to close the block editor and test out our new action. Just a simple stretch on the tail. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to show you the shortcut parameter sets. So all we have to do is go to linear stretch. The action already appeared and it already selected the node for us. All we have to do is right click, action selection set, new selection set. Parameter sets will save you a little bit of time. You can also see that it only has one grip. We don't have to change that manually. So these can save you a lot of time, but sometimes you do need to use parameters and actions separately. One example is the scale. There's no parameter set for scale. You'll probably have to use a linear parameter and then place the scale afterwards. But in most cases, parameter sets work much faster, especially for the simple actions. We're going to do a rotation set next. For this block, I want to select everything at this point, except for the two attributes and this line. The circle can be part of the selection set, or we can leave it. I'm going to leave it out. Next, we're going to add a flip set. When you add these flip sets, if you want to change the direction of this arrow, just grab this grip and pull it down like that. Also, I highly recommend not moving these grips off the flip parameters insertion point like that. If you need to move this grip, move the parameter with the grip. One thing to note at this point is that I'll eventually need to add this flip parameter to this rotation parameters selection set, or rather this rotation actions selection set. We could do that right now. Same thing as I just showed you about a minute ago. This flip set, this flip set's action does not have this flip set as part of it. So I'm going to close this block and just show you what I mean. When we use this flip action, it doesn't move this grip. We're going to fix that in just a minute. And also when I rotate this, this doesn't rotate. We'll also fix that. Okay, now we want to add one more action to this, or actually a visibility state. So I'm going to go back into the block editor. Still in parameter sets, visibility set. Let's rename this something that'll help people using our block know what this actually does without having to play with it. Let's first I'm going to rename the default visibility state to default fittingly. Read these options when you make new visibility states. In this case, I want all existing objects to show in this state. So to switch between visibility states, you're going to go up here. So you may have noticed why these nested blocks make it easier to build these dynamic blocks, because you only have to click them once to select all the geometry. So since we're in the visibility state, arrow and tail off, I want to select everything we don't need to see in this visibility state. So we don't need most of the actions. All we need is the attributes, this line, the circle, and the visibility state itself. So to hide these, we right-click, Object Visibility, Hide for Current State. Similar for this state, we don't need to see this tail or this parameter. So right-click, Hide for Current State. And I guess this flip state isn't really valid in this visibility state either, so we'll hide that as well. Okay, so now our block is working pretty much the way we want it. There's a couple problems I want to fix. I don't want all this information to show up in my properties window. I'll show you how to fix that. And also you might notice that these attributes aren't really showing up in the right order. I would rather, in this properties window, I'd rather the section number show on top and the drawing number show on bottom. I'll show you how to fix that. We'll go back into the block editor. Okay, so first I'll show you how to get those parameters to not show in the properties window. We'll just select all the ones we don't want to see. I do want to see the visibility parameter, just not all these other parameters. All you have to do is select them and go into your properties window. Show properties? No. So that's fixed. Now I'm going to show you a command called @order. All we have to do is click move down. Okay, so you'll notice that these attributes are still in the wrong order. The parameters aren't showing up, so that's right. If I insert a new block, these attributes will show up in the correct order. The reason for that is because attributes and blocks don't automatically update when you change them. This is kind of important for making blocks. Whenever you modify attributes, they won't update in any blocks that are already inserted into the drawing. So the only way to fix that is either delete the block and reinsert it, or use a command called @sync. So with this, you got to pay attention to the command prompt. Basically, you enter the command, you just press enter for the default option, select the block you want to update, and then again press enter for the default option, which is yes, and now that should have fixed it. There we go. Now that my block is finished, I'm going to go into the block editor one more time. And I'm going to give it a permanent name. I'm going to do that by going up here to save block as. As you can see, I have my own naming convention. I prefer to use these hash marks so they show up at the top of the list alphabetically. And finally, purge the old version of the block.